tribute to a wonderful relationship. I don't have a bad relationship with my son. I'm the one that feels more guilt about that than probably he does. But yeah, I mean, to speak perfectly honest, Walker, yeah, it does. It's a tough one. It's a tough one by any means. It's not a family gig. You know, it's a selfish gig. It's totally self-indulgent. You are the brand, whether you're an actor, an artist, a photographer. You're the brand, and you are the kid. You are, like I said, it's the first time. Everything is like a daycare center. Oh, wow, look at that. Wow. That's the way you live your life.
Yeah.
You know?
When you look back at that time, those years, and that person you were then, who was that person? Different than who you are now?
Yeah, I think jive. I think a little bit belligerent. Again, you know, my agenda was to get attention. And it sounds pretty frivolous because it is. It is. It turned into something that was, you know, a lot of fun. Again, I would use the word selfish, but I feel this way about it. Walker, if you're really happy and you have that kind of solidness within yourself, that will leak out to other people. It'll spin off to other people. And that's really what it's about in especially with music.
And that begins with doing what you love and what is natural to you.
But it's got to be, quote unquote, legitimate. It's got to be real. It's got to be honest and righteous, as they say. And if it is, it will spin off. I hope.
Did you do a lot of drugs?
Yes. Well, I'm not going to sell you any. Yeah. We had an expression in the band: "Don't hide it, divide it."
What kind of drugs?
All of them.
All of them. Yeah.
I mean, normally 20, 30 years ago, you'd say, "I can't talk about that."
Sure.
But if Paul McCartney could talk about it, anybody could talk about it. Let's put it this way. All the books that are out, like Keith's book and everything, there's nothing to hide. It's a question. You know what the wonderful thing is I could talk to you right now because it's over. You know, I got through it. In my show, I do a tribute to the wonderful inspirations that are not with us physically, but very much with us spiritually. And I'm sorry to say a lot of those victims, casualties, are in the music industry because that's what was going on.
Well, one of those victims was one of your band members, Felix Pappalardi, was shot and killed by his wife. Is that right?
That's right.
What was going on there?
A lot of drugs. I think what happened, and without getting deep into it, because the legal matter is over, they had an amazing relationship. Gail Collins was a very creative person, but she was also very powerful, very controlling. And they were together for a long time, but Gail never really had a chance. She was taking a lot of medication. And Felix wanted to get out of it. And he had met another girl, so he knew that he could get out of it. I guess he was confident, but not while he was with Gail. So he went home to tell his wife, Gail, by the way, I'm leaving you. I set you up financially. So he figured it was being honest and true. Little did he know that she had a Derringer that he had purchased for her. And she was stoned out of her mind, and the Derringer went off and killed him. It was kind of a very strange freak accident. Both of them were acting like freaks, and it was very sad because there was an effort for Felix to clean up. It's almost, I don't want to equate it to Stevie Ray Vaughan. He finally cleaned up, and then he gets into a crash, an airplane crash. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, what's going on here? You finally get away. You're going to get away. And it snapped. So whatever they call that fate, however you believe in your life and somebody else's, that happened. I mean, he was killed by a gun, but basically it was the mindset that was really off.
Were you close?
Yes. Yeah, we were close. We were always Felix was really a very, very close friend. Also, he was my teacher. I learned a great deal between he and Jack Bruce. I mean, you couldn't get two better people to rub off on you, and
would you say he was the leader? I mean, you described him before as a dictator.
Yeah, well, I call that, but in a way, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
He was brilliant, and at a certain point, you start to resent it because, of course, we all know everything. We don't want to be told anything. When you're written up in Rolling Stone or something and they say something nice, well, you take over the world.
Of course.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Of course.
It was a lot of bullshit. And I'm sorry to say that's what killed a lot of people in those days was the BS that they actually started to believe. And then you enhance that with any kind of narcotic, then you really, really believe it.
It just becomes amplified, yeah.
It amplifies
exactly.
it, and then the reaction is never good. good. Never good. Just watch Breaking Bad. That's
Yeah.
all you have to do. That to me is the ultimate in like good gone bad.
What a great show that is.
Yeah. We could go on for a couple of days on that. Talk about addicted. I know people, and I know I am, and I thought it was just me a couple of years ago going, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden, like, this thing takes over. Because in the world we live in today, that is the symbolic, that is metaphorical for anything from education to, stimulation, whatever you call it, all the Asians, wild. But you know what? That's what happens. That's what happens. And enhancement, we try to walk the line, Walker, and, it's not easy. Talk about a tightrope, I'm going on a bit. I had my morning coffee right here.
Me too. I'm right there with you. Cheers.
Carry on. Just keep the thing rolling.
For the past 10 years or so, you've been telling stories. You've been you have a Canadian radio show, which is great. You have it's such a great persona on the radio. And you've written a book, and you've been touring with these autobiographical one-man shows. Tell me about this show that you're bringing to Bay Street. You're going to play and tell stories. You sit behind the drum kit and tell stories from there.
Well, I call it the stand-up sit-down show. I mean, the best seat in the house is just a metaphor, of course, for the drum seat. Being able to sit on a drum seat and travel around the world thousands of times, and you can't get a better seat.
Yes.
Especially in a trio when you're sitting up on the riser and you have the bass player and the guitar player and you're looking at the audience and they're looking at you and you're playing the beat, and it becomes this wonderful cycle. That's the best seat, because while you're in control, you're also a passenger.
Yes.
And it's pretty indulgent and wonderful.
You're taking a ride like everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I take them with me.
Yeah.
Hopefully. It's just, without sort of overhyping it or underhyping it, it's a stand-up sit-down. Basically, think about it. When you're talking about the band Mountain, the guys are not around anymore. Leslie's still around. He's playing beautifully, but he lost his leg through diabetes a year or two ago, and so he's recording, but he's not on the road. Mountain is not on the road anymore. So I'm the last drummer sitting. Felix is gone. Steve Knight, God bless him, just passed away last year from Parkinson's, some sort of complication. So there's no Mountain band. So I've done other bands and stuff, but there was nothing like when you have a band like that musically you can't ask for more. And of course, West Bruce and Laing was a musical band, but we never had a chance to form. We were rock stars before we were a rock band.
And who do you have playing with you?
Oh, I have a few people. I have Bonnie Parker, who was from Long Island. She's fantastic. And her partner, Denny Colt. These are a couple of gals that are just fantastic to play with. They're a lot of fun. And they're right into that attitude of don't mess with me. I'm going to hit you real hard with what I'm playing. I love it. They're really hardcore.
You guys all have that in common.
Yeah, and then every now and then Eric Shankman from the Spin Doctors joins in, and a friend of mine from, Jack Bruce's son, Malcolm, participated in some of the writing. There's some really good musicians around that we have come in, and Bobby Rondinelli came to the last show. We have a lot of special guests that come and go. I can't guarantee any of them, but yeah, the show is much more enhanced with music than it was. I still try to get the stories out because, there's an old analogy to rock music. You have T-shirts and you have posters and you have stories. And usually the stories are the most colorful. Ka-ching, right? That's what it is. So, I don't know. It came about. I was lecturing. Through a series of events, I became a guest lecturer at certain universities, not about music. It was mostly about the philosophy of rock, an ethical philosophy of rock. And I started over in Helsinki through some professors I knew. They take rock and heavy metal very seriously, Walker, over in Scandinavia. So that was the place for me. And it developed from the lecturing because, of course, the students were waiting for one of these stories, X-rated stories, which, of course, there's plenty to go around.
Right.
So I throw those in, and from the lecturing came the stand-up sort of comedy. I hate to say comedy because I'm not necessarily funny, but the situations...
The stories are,
A lot of people are really connecting with it if they want to. In other words, they're coming... Like I said before, when you have this, I'm very fortunate and privileged that whatever fan base I've developed over the 150 years on the road, they're very loyal, number one, and they come to have a good time. So it's not like it's not like a hard job to go there and just sit. It's like a living room. It's basically come and sit. And we're going to have a few beers, and we're going to talk, and you'll tell me, and I'll tell you, and I'll lead the show, if I may, and walk you through. This is the kind of drumming that went on for the last 50 years, and this is how the song started. And this in publishing, this is how you get screwed. They're not sexy, but you get screwed anyways. So it's kind of a lecture in a lot of cases. It covers a lot of ground, and I have a great time doing it, and I'm really thrilled to say that it's selling. People are delighted. Just came from Nantucket, and I used to live there, and I was blown away that they actually sold out 2 shows. And I thought it was because I owed a lot of people money from the old days. I don't know. They all showed up.
All there to collect.
Yeah, I'm saying now, did I owe you? Anyways, no, but it was wonderful to see the old friends there from way back. And again, Long Island and out here in the Hamptons, the Sag Harbor, and the North Fork, people really just want to have a great time, and I can literally guarantee a couple of laughs, because I hate to sort of put it down like a contract, but it's a money-back guarantee. If you don't have a great time, I'll give you the minimal fee you paid for the ticket back. How's that?
That sounds like a deal to me.
It's a money-back guarantee. I don't even like to charge to get in. It's mainly for Bay Street. They want to keep the theater going, and it's a great venue. Bay Street's a wonderful place.
Well, I've been speaking to legendary, or I should say on his way to legendary, rock drummer Corky Laing. Corky, thank you so much.
Hey, Walker, it's my pleasure. I had a great time, and God bless everybody, and I hope to see you out on Saturday night. Absolutely.
Thanks for the cowbell.
You're very welcome.
Interview with the Artist comes to you from WBAZ Radio. Leave your comments and listen to past episodes on our website, interviewwiththeartist.com. Thanks for listening.